Hey y'all, welcome to Reddit Lane. Let's get into this interview with Carlos King and Laura Govan. I'm a Basketball Wives fan. I love Basketball Wives. I've been watching them since the series started. So we got New York, Florida, LA, back to Florida, back to LA, and everything in between. I've been watching it for a minute. Um, so when I saw this interview, I was like, oh wow, this is going to be really good. I saw some of the previews for it on social media, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely want to watch the part where she's talking about the fight with her Andrea. I'm definitely going to want to see the part about her with the rumor with Shaq, and I'm definitely going to want to see the part about the ambush, how she was brought onto the show. She talks about some other things in between there, like her family life and her relationship with her sister. And we've seen this before. They continue to have a strained relationship. So I didn't find that too interesting. But the rest with the behind the scenes kind of stuff, I did find interesting. So let's kind of get into that. The first thing we're going to look at is her addressing the rumor that she slept with Shaq. So let's see what we get from that.
There's rumors that there's an athlete that you were accused of being with.
Shaquille.
Okay,
Let's just come on.
let's call out.
Here we
Okay,
go.
okay.
Here we here.
There's rumors that you had sex with Shaq.
Hmm.
Um, and the rumor is you never had sex with Shaq, but your sister did, and that you protected her by just allowing the rumor to be thrown at you.
So here's what I would say about that. Is this the camera? Which one am I looking
Yours is that
at?
one.
Okay. Here's what I want to say about that. I will not clean up nothing until I talk to Shani because she is the one who started all this. So when she's ready to have a real woman to woman conversation, then I'll let that be out, whatever it is and whatever happened and how it and the truth about what really happened and transpired. But not only are you going to hear my answer and what the truth is, I'm going to give you some of you too. Okay.
What do you mean by you'll give Shawnee some of her too?
Yeah, that
Well,
was weird.
because she thought that me coming back on Basketball Wives was going to be like oh, Laura's she's ready, like she's ready to say sorry and she's ready to confess. Like this is what I feel like because she had me ambushed. You saw it. Everybody saw it. Every time I went to sit down to eat, to even before I went like this, they was like, "So we want to just read something from." It wasn't even like Matthew's 2018. It was like from her narrating some shit. Well, bitch, I'll show you. Okay, bet. So since you feel like you wanted to vomit all this shit out without hearing my side, my story, my truth, this is what you're doing? Let me tell you about you since you want to talk about me. We're going to keep it a buck, 1,000 on 1,000. That's
Okay, so she gave us nothing there. She didn't confirm and she didn't deny. So if they call this addressing the rumor, that was a poor job of addressing the rumor. That was not a good one. So let's go on to the next piece that was I thought was going to be interesting, and that was the ambush. And she kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's talk about the next one. Hold on. Six.
Were you under the impression that, okay, Shawnee D and me, she wants to clear the air. I can't wait for a scene between me and Shawnee.
couldn't wait. I was like this every day. I like, okay, she walking in any minute. Where's she coming? No come? Okay, bet. Next day. Is she come? No come? I was like, we got 2 more days of this shit. When is bitch showing up? I was like, what's happening? Where you at? No show.
So when Evelyn conveniently brought the excerpt of a book to an international cast,
Come on, keep coming. I'm listening.
in your heart of hearts, do you believe Evelyn was sent by Shawnee to bring up the Shaq thing in order for you to be embarrassed on national television, or just that was their way of having it addressed?
I felt it was to be embarrassed. I felt it was to be ambushed. If you were okay, for people who just saw it, I was living it. I was in it.
See, I don't know that they even gave the option of, oh, they brought this up because it was ratings and it was to pull viewers in to watch it to see that something like this was going to happen. I don't think it had anything to do with addressing something that happened that many years ago. If you wanted to address something that happened that many years ago, you would have addressed it a long time ago. And then you could have brought it up later on camera. But if it needed to be addressed, it would have been addressed. This was something to bring viewers in so that we watch the show. And I mean, it worked.
And it was an ambush. And my years previous, that ambush would have been a tornado. Everybody would have got hands. To date, everybody's going to get this mouth. That's where I'm at. So when they commence to doing their little reading at the table and shit, no problem. Keep it coming. Because what you're not going to do is get them. I'm older now. I'm much more mature. I don't do telephone. So I'm not going to tell you anything, first of all, especially you, meaning Evelyn, or anybody at that table. What really happened or how it went down. Let me take that back because I actually told Evelyn some shit in the car because I was talking to her. And I like Evelyn. I love her daughter. I like her a lot from when I would see her. But what I didn't like is how messy she made it. You didn't have to do that. You could have been like, yo, Elle, let me holler at you real quick. Because that's where I thought we were. Regardless if you're her friend or not, you still being a messy bitch is another thing. But you being a woman and being like, yo, her coming at you like that, yeah, I don't really do. But let me give it to you how I'm going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Come at me like that. Not like, here it is. Here's the cookies. Eat them. Oh, yeah? Well, how about we talk about your cookies too? Since you want to be up here talking about who I slept with, who'd you sleep with since we're talking? But those are things that I'm going to address with her when I get back on that show. Since
So good. So she is going to come back to the show, which is good. So I like Laura. So I'm going to enjoy watching her as she comes back on.
you don't want to do it when I see you at Whole Foods, and since you don't want to do it when I see you in Porter Ranch anymore, since you avoided me at Whole Foods, I saw you doing this behind the clerk at the counter, moving as they moved as I was trying to move to see them. But I had so many bags. I was actually going to come over, but I didn't. And it's okay. I think it was for the best. We'll leave it at that. So,
Laura Govan, you.
I'm just saying.
She was ducking and dodging. So I don't know. She was ambushed. I can agree. From watching the show, the viewers saw that it was an ambush. So let's move on to the Drea rumor. Because the rest of that, she's kind of talking about her family. She's talking about her relationship with her sister. She's talking about the breakup between she and Gilbert Arenas. And that's kind of what that goes into. So it's a whole bunch of stuff we heard before.
And since we're clearing things up, there's this rumor that Drea slept with your ex, with Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
And Gilbert said on his podcast, I believe he was with Nick Young.
Mm-hmm. He told me that story.
Did you see that story where he pretty much talked about what Dre was doing in the back seat and all that stuff? What do you have to say to that about you, Drea, and the Gilbert thing?
So here's what I would say about that. Let me clean that up because people were like, oh my God, Laura's just a bully, even 10 years ago. Like, oh, she's a bully. She's bullying her. So Gilbert told me that story about Drea. He had a lot to say. And I remember in the context, I think we had broken up. And he was like, well, this is what I did, right? Like, I messed with this girl from Philly, and it was this, this, and that. She only in the car and blah, blah, blah. What am I supposed to say to that? Besides, I'm young. I'm like, we're young, you know. I'm like, okay, what do you want? We weren't together. What do you want me to say? I'm not gonna tell you what I was doing, but okay. That's what we're doing. Okay. And so at the time they brought her on Basketball Wives. Drea was brought on Basketball Wives as a friend, if I'm not mistaken, to my sister. I remember if it was that was it. And guess what? I liked her because I was like, oh shit, I like this chick. Like, she's hella cool. She's funny. I had no idea that she was there being Gilbert's jump off. I had no idea. So then when I found out, it was when I was going through some papers at the house and I saw that he had given her $25,000 and brought her to LA. Let me tell you what I did. Miss Laura Govan, the bad girl at the time, rightfully so. You tell me if you think I love you, but let me tell you.
I was gonna say you don't care
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't care. I remember finding the paper. I remember calling my friend and telling her to pick up the kids for me because she was on the emergency. I remember that. And I remember going to where she was filming here in Hollywood down the street. I remember showing up and I was not supposed to be filming. And I walked past everybody and I beat her. And it did not air. They did not want that to air.
You beat
I
up
showed up.
Drea?
I beat Drea. I think I picked her by her collarbone and threw her. And then I
Okay, I don't know what that bleeped out word is. Y'all tell me in the chat what the bleeped out word was.
spit on her. And I was trying to get to her even after that. Am I proud of those things? Absolutely not. But what you're not going to do is be my friend. Don't be in my face. And from what I heard, you was the time. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? You help me help you. Where are we supposed to go with this?
See, initially I was like, okay, I hate when I hear these stories when somebody's caught cheating and you go after the woman instead of going after your significant other or whoever you're with. But in this instance, in this interview, and what she's saying is that this woman was her friend and she was in her face, smiling in her face, playing in her face, and sleeping with her husband and taking money out of her household. So I totally get it. Not that I'm condoning violence, but that's what you deserve. I mean, if you're a homewrecker and that's what you're doing and you're in somebody's face, I mean, you run the risk of getting your ass beat. like I just think that's what happens. I don't know. I like Drea. I thought Drea was really funny on Basketball Wives. And thinking back into how they brought Drea in and all the women seem to be, as soon as Drea comes around, like, oh my God, here she comes. I was really thinking like, okay, they're not giving her a fair chance. But knowing these backstories, that they knew what she was doing, that they knew that she was a jump off, that they knew that, this is what was going on with the people that they wanted to have relationships with or did have relationships with, then I see why they had their guard up. I see why they, treated her the way that they did. Not that Sunday was at all, in the right in the way that she was with Drea. I didn't agree with any of that, but I can see how they, were standoffish and not wanting to, welcome her in with open arms because, this is what she's known for doing. But I can't wait. I'm glad we did get some good stuff out of this interview. Number one is that Gloria may be on Basketball Wives next season. If they have another season, we'll see. If they do, I'll be reviewing it, and I hope you guys watch. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts were on the interview in the chat. Good night.